Hello everyone, we are Team Layer 6 AI participating in challenge number 2 of the Home Action Genome competition. In this presentation, we describe our solution to this challenge, where we propose a multi-view scene graph generation model tailored to video datasets. In this presentation, we begin by describing the scene graph generation test in general, followed by a description of the Home Action Genome dataset. After that, we describe our solution to this challenge, followed by a result of the proposed model. Scene graph generation is an important task in computer vision aimed at improving the semantic understanding of the visual world. A scene graph is a structured representation of an image, where nodes in a scene graph correspond to object bounding boxes with their object categories, and edges correspond to their pairwise relationships between objects. The task of scene graph generation is to generate a visually grounded scene graph that most accurately correlates with an image. Successful applications of scene graphs in real world include image captioning, video understanding, and visual question answering. Home Action Genome is a large-scale multi-field video database of indoor daily activities. Every activity is captured by synchronized multi-view cameras, including an egocentric view. The task is to predict object categories and predicate labels between the person and each object. Participants can use input information as video, other modalities, and ground truth boxes. In the Home Action Genome dataset, there are in total 30 hours of videos, 70 classes of daily activities, and 453 classes of atomic actions. In the training set of the challenge number 2, there are in total over 1 million of relationship annotations annotated on over 2.6 thousand videos. Compared to other scene graph generation datasets, the Home Action Genome dataset has some of its unique challenges. Firstly, the Home Action Genome dataset contains complex videos with many objects. This in turn makes it very hard for the model to predict the relationship just by relying on class co-occurrence. In addition, there are multiple set of relationships possible between a pair of objects, and the model needs to predict all of them correctly. Furthermore, in the Home Action Genome dataset, there are many obfuscated and tiny objects which pose additional challenges. While we have egocentric views which can aid the model to make class predictions, this egocentric view does not have localized boxes. Now we present our approach to this challenge. We propose a 3-stage based pipeline, where in the first stage, we use an ensemble of state-of-the-art image classification models to classify object labels. And in the second stage, we use an self-attention-based transformer encoder for encoding contextualized box representations. Finally, in the third stage, we combine the outputs from the previous 2 stages and pass them to a gradient boosting machine, which makes the final predicate predictions. Now we describe the detail of the first stage. We follow the existing literature in object classification to predict labels for objects in both the egocentric view and the exocentric view. This is important because each view has its own pros and cons. The egocentric view provides better views of objects, but it has very smaller contexts and no bounding boxes labels. On the other hand, the exocentric view, it provides localized boxes and more video context. However, in many cases, the objects in the exocentric view are small and obfuscated. What we are trying to do here is that we try to learn from both the views for better classification. Specifically, we trained individual classifiers first on each of the views. As shown in the example here, the classifier trained on the exocentric view could not have could have a difficult time in identifying the object as a tupperware, while the egocentric view provides additional useful information for classification. Therefore, we employ a joint classification module which learns from both views and fixes the mistakes from each of the individual views. We use an ensemble of classifiers for each of the views. We then take the softmax scores from both of the classifiers and pass them through our integration network. The integration network comprises of a cascade of NLP layers with nonlinearity. The integration network also takes as input the raw image features from both views, which helps it to classify object labels with higher accuracies. The final confidence from this model, as well as the spatial, visual, and semantic features extracted from bounding boxes, are fed into the relationship module. Now we describe the second stage, where we use an attention-based transformer encoder for encoding relationships and box features. The majority of existing scene graph generation models operate on pairs of objects found during the detection stage. Object features are generated independently of each other, so the pairwise model is only able to capture information local to the two objects. Such architecture has a significant drawback, where by focusing only on a specific object pair, the model loses global context information. This is particularly problematic in cluttered scenes, where many objects are in close proximity to one another and have common relationships. Pairwise models are thus unable to jointly reason about nearby objects, and this can lead to incorrect predictions. Take the left side image as an example. In this image, there are in total 3 rackets, and each of them is held by a different person. In order to know which person holds which racket, the scene graph generation model needs a global understanding of the scene so as to accurately assign rackets to the correct person. We use a novel form of self-attention where we use a transformer-based encoder to encode contextualized box features. To do so, we first form the detected bounding boxes as a sequence, and then we apply transformer encoder upon that. The output from the final layer of the transformer encoder is regarded as the contextualized box features for each box, since it has gathered information from all the other boxes in the same scene. Training the attention layers end-to-end enables our models to learn how to optimally extract contextual information that has been beneficial to this scene graph generation tasks. Finally, we describe the detail of the third stage, where it takes as input the output from the first 2 stages and combine it to pass it to a gradient boosting machine to get the final predicate prediction. In the third stage, we exploit engineered spatial, semantic, and visual features, as well as the predictions from the previous 2 stages. Here, semantics features refer to features that encode the frequency of subjects and objects and the frequencies of each predicate given a specific subject-object pair. These are highly relevant because the home action genome dataset is highly unbalanced. Some of the predicates are much more popular than the rest of the predicates. We additionally extract spatial features that encode the bounding boxes coordinates of subjects and objects, their relative positions, IOE, etc. The spatial and semantic features are all extracted from the boxes and their statistics. Here we explain why a spatial feature is important. Some of the relationships, like on and at, they are highly spatial. Take the left side image as an example. As soon as the model knows that the human boxes and the horse boxes has this relationship in terms of spatial, it will know that the human is riding a horse without even seeing the actual image. On the other hand, other relationships like holds and wheres, they do not have such strong spatial signals. However, they need visual dependencies in order to make correct predictions. Take the left-hand side image as an example. This image has two microphones. While both microphones are close to a speaker, however, only the left side person is holding the microphone, and therefore the model needs to use the raw image inputs so as to accurately make the predicate predictions. Up to now, we have described our solution to this challenge. In this challenge, the evaluation matrix is recall at k, where we compute the fraction of times the ground truth relationship triplets are predicted in the top k most confident relationship predictions in each tested frame. Here we use k equals to 10 and 20 in this challenge, and the final score is an average of the two scores. As we can see, our approach ranked the second among all the participating teams in this challenge. This concludes our presentation for this challenge. Thank you everyone for your attention and time.